5 years ago, I thought I'd cracked the code on the American dream. I bought a house in Pinewood Grove, a quiet suburb outside Houston. Good schools, friendly neighbors, and a commute that didn't make me want to scream. It was the kind of place where folks waved as you hauled your trash cans to the curb. I'm a widower, no kids, just me and my old hound, Rusty. At 52, I wanted stability, not drama. But what I got was a war I never saw coming. The Pinewood Grove HOA seemed harmless at first. They sent out cheery newsletters with potluck invites and tips on lawn care. Annoying, sure, but manageable. That all changed when the old president, a kind retiree named George, stepped down for health reasons. Enter Linda Harper, a 60-year-old former tax auditor with a glare that could curdle milk. She swept into her first meeting with a binder thicker than a phone book and a vision to restore order. I should have bolted when she started talking about compliance standards. Within weeks, Linda turned our neighborhood into a prison camp. New rules popped up overnight. Permits to park in your own driveway, grass trimmed to exactly 2 inches, trash cans out for no more than 30 minutes. She and her clipboard posse elf-styled compliance officers patrolled like they were auditioning for a dictator movie. My neighbor Tom got a $400 fine because his kid's lemonade stand attracted pests. Then they showed up in my backyard, snapping photos of my barbecue grill for a fire code review. When I told Linda to get off my property, she called my tone a threat to community unity. The fines started piling up. My air conditioner was too loud, it's whisper quiet. My mailbox was misaligned. The kicker? A $600 penalty for visual disturbance because sunlight from my upstairs window glared into Linda's kitchen. HOA dues skyrocketed from $150 a month to $500. I was paying more to live in my own house than I did for my truck. I tried talking to neighbors, but fear had settled in. Some whispered about vandalism, smashed mailboxes, ruined lawns after crossing Linda. Silence became survival. I started documenting everything. Every fine, every letter, every absurd rule. My dining room turned into a command center, stacked with folders and receipts. I wasn't sure if I was building a case or just clinging to sanity, but I knew this wasn't about grass height anymore. This was personal. I tried reasoning first. I sent a formal complaint to the HOA board, complete with photos, sound tests proving my AC was silent, and a note that sunlight isn't something I control unless I'm God. Their reply? A 2-line email demanding compliance. I escalated to the city, who shrugged and said HOAs were self-governing. Then came a $1,000 fine for improper complaint procedures. They were punishing me for fighting back. The breaking point hit when I decided to sell my house and move closer to my sister in Austin. I listed the place, ready to leave Pinewood's madness behind. Then a hand-delivered letter arrived from Linda herself. Inside was a $20,000 bill labeled Departure Assessment. Subheadings included exit penalty and property abandonment tax, like I was defecting from a cult. My realtor said the HOA had flagged my house, blocking the sale until I paid. No buyer could access community amenities or records, making the place untouchable. Enough was enough. I rented an apartment, started packing, and hired a private investigator named Carl Reese, a grizzled ex-cop who'd spent 20 years busting fraud rings. I slid him a folder of HOA documents at a greasy diner off I-45. He flipped through it, grunted, and said, "This lady's running a scam in sensible shoes." I hired him on the spot. Carl dug deep. 2 weeks later, he handed me a flash drive and a file that could choke a shredder. The HOA had 2 ledgers, one for show, with pool maintenance and landscaping costs, and a secret one with payments to fake companies. A lawn service called Evergreen Solutions, owned by Linda's cousin, was billing thousands for work never done. Over $400,000 had been wired to an offshore account in Belize under Horizon Ventures, LLC, all approved by Linda. Worse, the former treasurer, Ed Carter, had raised red flags about missing funds 3 years ago. A month later, he was found dead in a ditch, officially a heart attack, but Carl's police contacts found bruises and a broken wrist that didn't add up. Ed's complaints to Linda were buried in deleted emails Carl recovered from a junked HOA laptop. I felt sick. This wasn't just bullying, it was organized crime. Carl and I compiled a dossier and delivered it to the district attorney's office. Days later, I filed a lawsuit against the HOA for fraud, harassment, and abuse of power. The court moved fast. A judge issued an injunction, freezing the HOA's accounts and banning Linda from any authority. I taped the court order to my front door like a trophy. Linda didn't quit. She sent Child Protective Services to my house, claiming I was neglecting kids I don't have. The caseworker took one look at Rusty napping on a pile of packing tape and left. Then flyers appeared around Pinewood, my face plastered on them with lies about stealing community funds. I found one taped to my mailbox, bold font screaming, "Fugitive homeowner." I added cameras and taped more court orders to my fence. One night, my motion sensor pinged at 2 a.m. The footage showed Linda standing on my lawn, staring at my house like a ghost. She didn't move for 3 minutes, then vanished into the dark. I sent the video to my lawyer, who said it showed intent. I didn't sleep that night, but I scrawled on my garage wall, "They can't win if you keep receipts." The end came on my last day in Pinewood. I was loading my truck books, tools, Rusty's water bowl when Linda marched up with 2 goons in HOA security vests that looked like they were ironed by a toddler. She demanded the $20,000 exit fee, claiming my move was asset abandonment. I laughed. "There's a court order, Linda. Your game's over." She called the police, accusing me of property fraud. Officer Daniels arrived, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. I handed him the court order. His face hardened as he read it. "Ma'am," he told Linda, "step back." She sputtered, but then a black SUV rolled up. 3 people stepped out, 2 in suits, one from the DA's office with a warrant. "Linda Harper," the lead said, "you're under arrest for embezzlement, fraud, and harassment." Her clipboard hit the pavement. Her goons tried to intervene, but were cuffed one face down on my grass. Linda screamed, not in pain but in disbelief, as they read her rights. She shot me a look shock, rage, defeat as they loaded her into the SUV. I just stood there, holding a box of old sweaters, and watched her empire crumble. Pinewood changed overnight. No more patrols, no more fines. The HOA was dissolved after audits confirmed Carl's findings. Fake invoices, shell companies, stolen funds. Linda faced 7 charges, including conspiracy. Her bond was denied. Her mugshot hit the local news. Homeowners rallied, filing a class action lawsuit. A couple down the street had been fined $6,000 for unapproved porch lights. A retiree was threatened with a lien over a birdhouse. The case became a state scandal, sparking HOA reform hearings. I testified in Austin, not for fame, but to make sure no one else endured this. The court refunded my dues and fines, plus a $300,000 settlement from the HOA's insurance. I sold the house, bought a cabin an hour west, no neighbors, no rules, just trees and Rusty. On my office wall hangs the court order, framed with a plaque. Pinewood Grove HOA, dissolved by court order. It's my dragon's head, proof I fought and won. 6 months later, I'm free. My new place smells of pine and peace. Sometimes, I flinch when the mail truck rumbles by, half expecting another fine. But nothing comes. At my housewarming, Tom brought a gag gift, a wooden clipboard painted with compliance czar. We laughed until our sides hurt. Linda's awaiting trial, and Ed's death is now a cold case. I don't know how her story ends, but mine does. I sip coffee on my porch, Rusty at my feet, and watch the sunset. I'm done with clipboards and tyrants. I'm home. What do you think about this? Have you faced injustice or abuse of power in your life? Share your stories in the comments. Let's talk about standing up to bullies and what justice means to you. Your voice matters.